Okay, I've got a flathead engine here. It's badly rusted. And most of the cylinders are cleaned up, but there's this one on the end. It's pretty bad. And I got the rust out, but there's heavy pitting. And what I'm doing, I thought I would try and plate the pits. I can't go anymore with a hone. We remove too much material with a cylinder hone. So what I've done, I've set up a copper bath. I've got a 3-volt power supply there, and right here is the negative. It's using this magnet to hold it to the engine block, and holding this anode up, this copper anode, is plumber's putty, and I've got the positive lead tied to it, and you can probably see some of the pitting there. There at the top is surface rust. That's not copper, but if you can see in there, you can see the copper's plating. And one thing I've noticed that really helps, spread the plate. The plate wasn't spreading, but agitation. I would stir the cyanide. It's copper cyanide, and once I started doing that, the plating started spreading out. Where the water is roughly where the worst of the pitting is. So I thought about nickel plating, but the thing is, nickel's harder than cast iron. And see, I'm overplating actually. With nickel, I worried about getting the cylinder back to square. But with copper, even though I overplate, the hone will should clear off the high spots and just leave the copper in the pits. So thus build up the pits that way and use the hone to remove the excess copper. And the copper is softer than cast iron, so I know I can get it back to the the roundness it was using the hone. So you can see it's quite a bit of copper going in there. So I decided copper was better to use than nickel or chrome plating. Now, if you probably can't get copper cyanide, but you could try nickel plating it. But I like the looks of this copper. I can see it spreading pretty well, and the anode gets a green thing over it, and so I knocked that off. About every minute or so, you have to knock that off. And once I was cleaning the anode and stirring the solution, then I could start to see the plating going on. Get the right angle there. You can see there's quite a bit going on there. So I'm going to agitate some more. Put the camera down. Now I got about 3 volts going through here from this power supply. Okay, it's plated up pretty well. You can see that. I'm going to turn it off, and you can see on the outer edge there. I'm going to remove the cyanide. The way I'm going to do that is use a dropper here and suck it up and put it back in the container. Now the piston is holding all that cyanide in there. It hasn't leaked at all. So this has been going on for a while. But I'm going to put the cyanide back in the container with a dropper. Okay, I've removed the cyanide. You can see better here. The copper plate. So I'm going to hone that down and hope the pits. I might go back in and do some more. You have to see how this worked out. I might use a brush plate if I go back in and just spot do some of the other. I'll hone it out and see how it feels. I'll take that surface rust off just above it too. I'll use navel gelling. Okay, the copper plate, you can see it's filling in the pits. There's two areas that need more filling. You can see there. And I'm going to use a brush plating technique to go just after those two areas. Now this is sat for a few days since I did the other, and if I'm going to resume plating, I think I need to activate the plate. So I've got some dilute solution here of hydrochloric acid and water, and I'm just going to brush some here where I want to plate, activate it. I'm not putting much in there. I'll let it sit a minute and then I'll wipe it out. Now, you don't want to mix acid and cyanide and make a gas, deadly gas. I can see it's cleaning up pretty good. Okay, here's my apparatus. I've got a positive connected to a brush with a metal handle, and the negatives with the magnet clipped to the block, is touching the block, and I've got my cyanide down here. I can dip into it. I'm just going to brush back and forth over the badly pitted area and spot. This is called brush plating and spot repair, where I just want the copper to go now. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to earlier, but I switched to nickel. Nickel sulfate here. Sorry about all this stuff in the way. But you can see the nickel covered the copper. And it looks like the pits were disappearing right before my eyes. So I'm going to sand it out, but I just want the nickel to stay in the pits, not in the cylinder. Well, nickel's harder than cast iron, so that's why I avoided it at first. But you can see it's plated over the copper, and you can see a nickelish grayish tone everywhere. When I look at the side, the shadows, I don't see the pits as much as I used to, especially that one area. I just brushed that one area, but other areas received some overlap plate.